The movie opens with a young woman named Perfidia, a fierce revolutionary who leads a group called French 75. They are currently positioned at the US-Mexico border, where an immigrant detention center stands under heavy security. Perfidia carefully surveys the entire area, observing every detail before returning to her team and explaining the plan to everyone. She divides them into two groups. The first group will go straight inside and capture the officers, while the second group will focus on freeing the immigrants and getting them out safely. Among them is a man named Pat, an explosives expert. Perfidia approaches him and gives him the most important task. He must carry out a massive explosion that will distract everyone, allowing the rest of the team to complete the mission and escape. They wait patiently until nightfall. As darkness takes over, the group begins to move in silently, each person carrying out their assigned role. Perfidia makes her way inside and heads directly to Colonel Stephen Locke. Without hesitation, she points a gun at him and orders him to surrender, but she doesn't stop there. She humiliates him, forcing him to follow her in a degrading manner, making sure his authority is completely stripped away. She then brings him outside and locks him up with the rest of the captured soldiers. Before being taken away, Locke looks at her and warns her to remember his face, promising that he will return. At that moment, a powerful explosion goes off, creating chaos everywhere. Using the distraction, the group escapes from the scene. As soon as they get out, Perfidia and Pat share a kiss, revealing their relationship. Their mission doesn't end there. They continue carrying out attacks regularly, targeting different places. Some days they blow up a politician's house, other days a bank. Government locations remain their primary targets, and they successfully carry out one attack after another. However, Perfidia is unaware that Colonel Locke has now started watching her closely. He keeps an eye on her at all times and could capture her whenever he wants, but he chooses not to. Instead, he becomes increasingly drawn to her, watching her with a disturbing fascination. But the moment he discovers her relationship with Pat, his reaction changes completely. The very next day, he captures her inside a building where she has gone to plant a bomb. Holding her at gunpoint, he tells her that he doesn't want to kill or arrest her, on one condition. She must meet him at a motel. If she refuses, he warns her that he will find her again. Perfidia agrees and later meets him at the motel. There, the two become intimate. After some time, Perfidia becomes pregnant. Despite this, she does not stop her violent activities and continues her involvement in attacks and shootings. Eventually, she gives birth to a baby girl. From this point, their lives begin to change. Perfidia notices that things are no longer the same. Pat starts focusing more on their child, while she also finds herself drawn toward the baby. However, she doesn't like this change. She still sees herself as a revolutionary, not a mother. Unable to accept this new reality, she makes a difficult decision. She leaves her child behind and walks away to continue her mission, while Pat stays back and raises their daughter alone. One day, in a supermarket, Locke approaches Pat and asks if he has a child. Pat says yes. Locke then asks her name, and Pat replies, Charlie. Hearing this, Locke reacts strongly and says that the name sounds unusual. Before hinting that he has something important to tell him, Locke casually says that he has a strong liking for black girls, and after saying this, he simply walks away. Hearing this leaves Pat deeply disturbed, as the meaning behind those words begins to trouble him. On the other side, Perfidia is seen with her group as they attempt to rob a bank. However, things quickly go wrong. During the chaos, she is forced to shoot a guard, which creates panic everywhere. Within moments, the police surround the area. Realizing the situation is out of control, the group tries to escape. While fleeing, Perfidia's car crashes into another vehicle, forcing her to run on foot. But she doesn't make it far. Eventually, the police catch her. She is injured, so instead of being taken directly to prison, she is placed in a hospital. There, Locke comes to meet her and offers her a deal. He tells her that she doesn't have to go to jail. He can get her out, but only if she reveals the names of everyone in her group. Meanwhile, Pat is seen struggling with everything that has happened. At that moment, one of his associates named Howard approaches him. He warns Pat that they all need to disappear and change their identities because the police could come after them at any time. He hands Pat a device and explains that everyone in their group will have one. Whenever two members come close to each other, the device will make a sound, and only then should they trust one another. He also gives him a paper containing code words and instructs him to memorize them and then destroy the paper. On the other side, Perfidia gives up information about French 75. Because of this, she is placed under the witness protection program. Pat, meanwhile, takes his daughter and leaves the place, going far away to stay hidden. At the same time, Locke begins eliminating members of French 75 one by one. Anyone connected to the group becomes his target. In the end, he is even rewarded for his actions. After some time, Locke arrives with flowers to meet Perfidia, but when he gets there, he discovers that she has already escaped. Time passes, and 16 years go by. Now we see Pat and Perfidia's daughter, whose name is now Villa. She is practicing karate under her instructor, Sergio. Meanwhile, Pat has changed his identity and now goes by the name Bob Ferguson. He spends most of his time drunk, lost in his own world. On the other side, Howard is still running the French 75 group. However, one day, a man named Avanti captures him and takes him away. Some children witness this and quickly inform others that Howard has been kidnapped, which signals serious danger. Elsewhere, Locke is seen visiting a white supremacist group called the Christmas Adventure Club. These people strongly believe in white superiority and suspect Locke of having had a connection with a black woman in the past, especially since he has always shown a preference for black women. They begin questioning him, but Locke denies ever having any relationship with any woman. At the same time, Howard is being brutally tortured for information, but he refuses to speak. The interrogators then threaten to torture his wife and sister next if he doesn't cooperate. Left with no choice, Howard finally gives them the information they want, the location of baby Charlene. This information eventually reaches Locke. He gathers his men and declares that their next targets are two people, Villa Ferguson and Bob Ferguson. Soon after, he and his entire team arrive in the city. On the other side, we see Villa with her father. She is frustrated with her father because of his strange behavior. He is always drunk and lost in himself. One day, she tells him that she is going to a dance party with her friends, but instead of reacting normally, he behaves rudely with her friends as well. Upset, Villa leaves the house. As soon as she reaches school, the device her father gave her suddenly starts beeping. He had told her that if anyone from French 75 comes near her, the device will react, and only then should she trust that person. In front of her stands a woman named Deandra. She tells Villa that she knows her parents and warns her that danger is coming for them. She urges her to leave immediately. Trusting the signal, Villa goes with her. On the other side, Pat is still drunk when he receives a call from members of French 75. They ask him for a code, but he is so intoxicated that he starts talking nonsense. Realizing the situation, they inform him that Locke is on his way to him and that Villa has already been secured. Now it's his turn to escape. They tell him to meet them at the rendezvous point. Only then does Pat realize how serious the situation is. But there's a problem. He doesn't remember where the rendezvous point is. Before he can figure it out, Locke arrives. He breaks down the door and enters the house. Inside, they discover a secret tunnel, and Pat is already trying to escape through it. Locke's men throw smoke grenades inside, filling the tunnel with thick smoke. Somehow, holding his breath, Pat manages to get out alive, but the smoke badly affects his eyes. He runs straight to a public restroom and washes his eyes. He knows he has to reach the rendezvous point somehow, but he has no idea where it is. His phone is dead, so he uses a public phone to call the secret office of French 75. However, they keep asking for the code, and since he can't remember it, they refuse to give him the location. With no other option, Pat leaves and goes directly to Sergio's place, entering his house so he can charge his phone. Sergio is already aware that something serious is happening in the city. He tells Pat that the police are conducting raids everywhere. Meanwhile, the police begin questioning Villa's friends, asking the same questions repeatedly. Does anyone know Villa, and does she have a phone? Everyone denies knowing anything. At the same time, Sergio and Pat prepare to leave. Sergio asks where Villa is, and Pat tells him that she is safe with members of his old group, the people he used to work with. He also reveals that he was once part of a revolutionary group. Sergio understands this, as he himself runs a local group in the city. Still, Sergio questions how Pat is so sure that Villa is safe and tells him to call her. Pat replies that she doesn't have a phone because he always considered it too risky. But Sergio corrects him, saying that he should know, she does have a phone. On the other side, Deandra talks to Villa and asks if she knows who Locke is. Villa says yes. Her father told her that Locke is the man responsible for killing most members of the group, including her mother. Meanwhile, Pat and Sergio arrive at a shop so Pat can charge his phone. But the entire city is in chaos, with panic spreading everywhere. Sergio then takes Pat to a secret location where many immigrants are hiding. Standing there, Sergio addresses everyone. Sergio tells everyone that they must leave immediately. At the same time, Pat finally manages to charge his phone and calls French 75. However, they keep asking him for the code again and again. Frustrated, Pat starts shouting at them and demands to speak to a senior. When the senior gets on the call, he recognizes Pat after asking a few personal questions. He then orders the man beside him to immediately give Pat the location of the rendezvous point. Now Pat finally has the location, but it's far away. Before they can act, the police arrive at the spot. To escape, they open an underground tunnel so all the immigrants can get out safely. Sergio then goes to Pat, hands him a gun, and tells him that his students will help him escape. Pat thanks him, and the students take him with them. Meanwhile, the police begin arresting all the students. During this, someone reveals that Villa has a phone and even provides her number. The police immediately call it. As soon as the phone rings, Deandra becomes furious and questions Villa about why she didn't mention having a phone. She quickly throws the phone away, but it's too late. Locke already gets the last location and sets out with his men. On the other side, Pat is escaping with Sergio's students, jumping from one rooftop to another. However, at one point, Pat fails to make the jump and falls onto a tree. Even after hitting the ground, he gets up and tries to run, but the police use a taser on him, knocking him unconscious, assuming he is just another protester. The students quickly inform Sergio about what happened. Meanwhile, Villa reaches the location known as Sister Viewers. There, the leader named Roche approaches her and tells her that her mother betrayed them all. Because of that, they cannot trust her easily and will keep a close watch on her to make sure she doesn't betray them as well. At the same time, a man named Team is called into an emergency meeting. These people are part of the Christmas Adventure Group. They discuss Locke, as they have received secret information that he has a daughter born from a black woman named Perfidia. If this is true, they consider it a serious offense, as they strongly believe in white supremacy. Team asks where Locke is, and they inform him that Locke is currently in the city, causing chaos everywhere. They believe he is searching for his daughter so he can kill her before anyone else finds out the truth and ends the matter himself. But the situation is far from over. They explain how Locke arrested Perfidia, placed her in witness protection, and had a child with her. Now they order Team to find Locke and kill him. Understanding the seriousness, Team sets out to locate Locke. On the other side, Villa is seen practicing shooting, but she is disturbed by the fact that everyone sees her mother as a traitor. Meanwhile, Pat is in police custody, pretending to be heavily intoxicated. After some time, a nurse approaches him and calls him by his real name. She then mentions that it seems like he hasn't taken his insulin injection. Pat immediately understands that she is trying to help him, so he plays along and says that he hasn't taken it. He is then taken to the hospital, where the nurse secretly unlocks his handcuffs and tells him how he can escape. At the same time, Locke reaches the location where the phone was last found. Locke reaches the location where Villa's phone was last traced, but he doesn't find anything there. He starts asking people nearby if there's anything unusual around. Someone mentions that there is a farm nearby, but it is only occupied by nuns. Hearing this, Locke finds it suspicious and immediately heads there with his men. They raid the place, arrest all the nuns, and drag Villa in front of Locke. He orders everyone to leave the room and then takes out a device to conduct a DNA test. He wants to confirm whether Villa is truly his daughter. He collects a sample from her mouth and then from himself. As they wait for the result, Villa tells him that no matter what the outcome is, he can never be her father because she already has one. The two argue for a long time. Finally, the result arrives, and both of them are shocked. The test confirms that Locke is indeed her real father. Meanwhile, Sergio is bringing Pat along and tells him to jump out of the car because the police are chasing them. Pat jumps out, and all the police vehicles continue following Sergio. Pat, now alone, takes a gun, steals a car, and heads toward the hills. After some time, when he reaches the hill area, he sees that Locke has already arrived there and has Villa with him. Locke is about to put her into a car. Pat tries to aim and shoot, but he misses. Locke drives away while others start firing at Pat. Somehow, Pat manages to escape, gets into his car, and starts chasing Locke. Locke then goes to a bounty hunter named Avanti and orders him to kill the girl. Avanti refuses, saying he doesn't kill children. Enraged, Locke tells him to take her to a nearby militia group instead, as they will kill her. Avanti agrees. They force Villa into a car and drive away. Locke leaves in one direction, while Avanti heads in another. On the other side, Pat is desperately asking around for information about Locke's car to continue the chase. He finally gets a lead and moves forward. At the same time, Locke is driving when another car pulls up beside him. Inside that car is Team. He signals Locke to roll down his window. As soon as Locke does, Team shoots him. The bullet hits, and Locke's car crashes. Team steps out, checks whether Locke is dead or not, and then leaves. Meanwhile, Avanti reaches the militia group with Villa and tells them that Locke has sent her. He then goes back and sits in his car. At that moment, Pat arrives at the crash site and finds Locke severely injured, almost dead. He looks around desperately, hoping to see his daughter, but she is nowhere to be found. Without wasting time, he leaves to search for her. On the other side, Avanti sits in his car when some men arrive. He realizes that they are going to kill Villa, and he doesn't want that to happen. Taking a stand, he pulls out his gun and frees Villa's hands, which were tied to a chair. Then he starts killing the men one by one. Taking advantage of the situation, Villa runs outside and gets into a car. But once inside, she realizes the car keys are still with Avanti. She notices a gun nearby, picks it up, and goes back inside. There, she sees that all the men inside are already dead, including Avanti. Villa then takes the keys from his pocket, gets into the car, and leaves the place to escape. After driving for a short distance, she notices another car following her. Inside that car is Team, who has come to kill her. After a short chase, Villa stops her car in a blind spot. Team's vehicle crashes into it from behind. He gets injured but still comes out and tells her to step outside. Villa asks for the code, but Team doesn't understand anything. She quickly realizes he is the enemy and shoots him in the head. Meanwhile, Pat also sees the car accident. He stops his vehicle and starts searching for Villa on foot. Villa is extremely scared at this point and keeps asking for the code repeatedly. Pat sees her and starts saying the code again and again, telling her that he is her father. Hearing this, Villa finally feels relief. Pat hugs her and takes her away from there. But Villa already knows deep inside that the man who raised her is not her real father. At the same time, we learn that Locke is still alive. His face is covered in blood, but he somehow reaches a hospital. After some months, he is seen in front of the Christmas Adventure Club again, being interrogated about his connection with Perfidia and whether he has a child with her. Locke then says that he is a soldier. He has won many battles and has also been captured a few times. He claims that once he was captured by black people, and Perfidia forced herself on him, leading to the birth of a child. When asked why black people would do such a thing, Locke suggests they may have wanted a child who is strong and intelligent like him. After hearing this, the group takes him to another room and tells him that he is now a permanent member. They say the office belongs to him. He walks inside and sits down while the door is closed behind him. Locke feels relieved, thinking he has finally been accepted, but suddenly, he notices gas filling the room. It is poisonous gas. Within moments, Locke dies. Later, some men arrive, take his body, and burn it to erase all traces of him. The Christmas Adventure Club already knows the truth. They suspected that Locke was the one who helped Perfidia escape. They also know that Perfidia is still alive somewhere in the world, but they no longer want to chase her. However, they cannot forgive Locke either. So they eliminate him completely. On the other side, Pat finally tells Villa the truth and says that her mother is still alive. He gives her a letter that Perfidia had written for her. He had been waiting for the right time to give it to her. Villa reads the letter, where Perfidia apologizes for not being able to take care of her. She says that when she was young, she tried to change the world, but now she feels weak. Still, she believes she is trying to make the world a better place, and she promises that one day she will meet her daughter again. After reading the letter, Villa hugs Pat. Sometime later, they now have mobile phones, and Perfidia even teaches Pat how to use one. Later, a radio broadcast announces a protest happening in Oakland, and Villa wants to go there. Pat does not stop her, and she leaves. This shows that she is now following in her mother's footsteps, fighting for truth and justice, and with that, the movie comes to an end.